Let's get started.
All right, let's do this.
Welcome everyone to Good Night Colombo, episode 4. My name is Tharindu and this is the show where we mutter over things that matter. And my main aim has always been to get the stories that matter out, to get the views and the voices that matter out to you, especially to hear out things about people that we know, but things that we may not know. And also, the main focus has always been getting through COVID-19, how it's affecting the lives of some famous people we know, and what we can learn from that. And this evening, we have a very familiar face. I'm indeed honored to introduce him as a batchmate and a friend from the university days. We call him Viresh Cooray, but of course, he's lovingly called by his fans as Chika from the Daddy group. He's been a founding member, and he has gone on to rock our souls with his beats. Viresh, or I would say Chika, welcome to Good Night Colombo.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It's lovely to be here. All right.
I would like to ask you, what do you do during a lockdown? What has the famous Chika been up to during the lockdown? How have you been managing your life yourself during this situation?
I have actually been extremely productive. I am someone who, if I'm not productive, I feel guilty. If I'm not doing something worthwhile, I feel guilty. I can't, unless I'm really tired, I can't really lie in bed and just not do much. It's probably the work ethic I got from my parents. So I don't know where I got it from. But for me, what I've been up to is basically I wake up in the morning at about say 8, 9. Because I mean, you sleep late nowadays, so it's hard to wake up any earlier than that. I come straight to my studio room. I start practicing for about a good 1 to 2 hours. I eat in between, and then I go on to helping or cooking lunch. It's either I help my wife or I cook. I can now cook an entire meal, which I could never do back in the day, and which I learned these days. Which I consider a pretty big achievement. and then after that, I usually make some music or I mix a song. I do something productive. I'm on the go. I want to be on the go because that's something I've been used to. So I make some music. I work on a new song. I produce something that I've already had. I research on stuff, new songs, new things that are out there, production techniques and all of that. Mixing techniques, whatever, and then the last couple of weeks I've been conducting online lectures as well for Music Coven, because we started the online portion of it since we weren't very sure when we could actually get students in. And then I go to bed at about 12 in the morning, basically the next day morning. I probably fall asleep at around 2 a.m., 2, 3 a.m. And that's pretty much my day. I do spend time with my wife. Apart from that, we lunch, breakfast, and whatever time in between, and tea time and all of that. But apart from that, aside from that, I'm usually doing something productive.
All right. Interesting. And also from 12 to 2, we get that part, yes. And Viresh,
yeah.
Let's talk about your music school. Now, a lot of people, they do know you as a musician, but this music school, when did you start it? And is it a passion project? Tell us about it. And how many students do you have right now?
Okay, so we started this. So it was started by me and Lahiru Pereira. Who is also from Apit, and who was my classmate.
I remember, yes.
Yeah, and so Apit is where we met, and we've been friends since. Like we've been best friends since. So this is basically where it started off as a passion project. It came about because after we studied audio engineering and came back to Sri Lanka and did our work, and we put out songs, and we mixed those songs, and those songs went out under our name. People started calling. People started calling us and asking us how to do this and that, and how we mix this song, how we mix that song, and how we got this kind of sound. And then we eventually realized that there were a lot of people who were keen on doing this. And when we started out, when we wanted to do this, there weren't many places to learn. There were very few, and which is why we went abroad to study. Lahir and I both went to Singapore. I went to UK to study audio engineering. And so because of that, we thought we might as well start an institute, because we had always had this this want, this need to teach. And from where we started, the standard of production quality, mixing and mastering quality, sound quality in Sri Lanka wasn't as good or not close enough to the international market as we wanted it to be, which is why we went to study as well. So we thought we might as well give out whatever knowledge we have and make some money at it also in the meantime. So we started this off in, I think it was 2011, 2012. And we started off in our studio with 6 students. A lot of people would probably know some of the students. One of them is Sanukar, who is a pretty famous artist nowadays. And another one is Vinod Melpitia. He's the audio engineer for Vayu. He's doing really well. So we started off with 6 students, and we then moved into an institute. We have a friend who invested in that place called Chika, and then it sort of grew from there. And we've now shifted to Nugget to an even bigger place. We are on our 54th batch, I think. We usually have about 10 students to 12 students per batch. And now I think people have realized that if you are a musician, you need to be able to at least get, at least have the knowledge where you know what kind of sound you want, how to at least start on a song, so that you can tell whoever is producing your song that this is what I need. And when you have a basic knowledge of music and audio engineering, you can at least tell them that this is what I need. I need this here, that here, I need this kind of sound here. Because without any knowledge on audio engineering, it's very hard to get the sound you want out across. And it's hard to find people who will understand exactly what you want. So yeah, it started off as a passion project, and now it's become a thing where it is also a business and something. Teaching is something I've always loved doing. I used to conduct guitar classes as well, but then I ran out of time to do it because of gigs and practices and so on. But teaching is something that is extremely satisfying. When you teach someone and you realize, I mean, I'm sure you know how this works. When you teach someone something and when you realize that they have grasped it, the next time you meet them, it's a very satisfying feeling. And then that to me keeps me going, and I love teaching.
Excellent. So I think and I fully get you, Viresh, when you say that satisfaction of teaching. I mean, well, sometimes when you teach a batch of 250, 300 students, of course, the problem is less people get it and more people don't get it. But that satisfaction of at least one person figuring out what you've been trying to scream your heart out, that to me is a huge satisfaction, and I fully agree with you on that. So kudos and well done on going down that path as well.
Thank you so
Chika, let's talk about the new project of Daddy. I know now you've been quite active on that during this lockdown. So tell us what you can tell us about it.
Yeah, I can tell you pretty much everything. So we've been trying to get an album out for the past 2-3 years, but we started performing quite heavily within the last 4 to 5 years, and because of that, because of having to practice for concerts and having to stay tight as a band and having to work on new arrangements and all of that. And we also started a few of our own tours, one tour in particular called Ale. And because of that, we haven't been able to get into the studio and properly spend some time in making music. We have been making a few songs here and there, but we haven't been able to spend proper quality time like we used to. Back in the day, we didn't have gigs. We didn't have a lot of gigs when we started out. We had all the free time since we had time to invest on songs. And now all of us have responsibilities. Making money is also a necessity. Our guys have kids. So all of that is in play, and obligations and all that. So it's not as easy to find time.
You're saying that daddies are daddies now.
Pretty much, a lot of them, a few of them. I'm not yet. Who knows? But yeah, so we haven't had time to invest on that, and this lockdown gave us a chance to completely invest our time in it. So Nimanta and I, my keyboardist, who's also my front man, my co-front man when it comes to band, we have been heavily producing and making music, and even Shamila. And I think we have made enough songs for close to about 2 albums now. So we are currently in the process of finalizing the songs, and the plan is to have it out by the end of June. That is the plan. You never know with these things, because when you start producing music and you're experimenting, these things take a bit of time. But that is the goal, and if we don't have it out by June, we will at least have it out by July. That is planned. So new album coming out. It's been about 9 years since we released our previous album. And we are actually very excited about this because this has quite a lot of variety in terms of genres, because we were anyway not known for sticking to a certain genre, but we have tried out different things because of the experience we've gained during the last how many years we've been in the industry. We have played different types of songs. We have listened to different all types of songs. So because of that experience, we have been trying new things out. And this feels like us again after a long time. And this feels like we are putting out our heart and soul. And we are actually excited for people to hear this as an entire project. And we've been, this is basically an achadol, if I can use that word. And which is what I love. I don't want to listen to an album that has the same kind of song, the same kind of structure. That does not pique my interest. So for me, if I'm listening to an album, I want complete variety on the album. And this is the kind of thing we are going for. And I think we have sort of achieved variety. Whether people will like it or not is yet to be seen. Fingers crossed, hopefully people will like it. But either way, this has given the songs that we have made has given us a lot of satisfaction. So I think that is the end goal.
I think one of your success factors has actually been that you are able to produce music, to produce songs, and especially titles that stay relevant across the years and across the generations. Just to give you an example, Viresh, there's this group that has been created called the 84 Bonds group, which is very active on Facebook these days. And one girl had posted about asking people to mention a song that ends in a question, which is about love and all that. And then you see all these girls who are going and commenting very sentimental, emotional songs. And there's this one guy who goes and measures that with one comment saying, "A.k.a. hadawatin oba mata adare."
Yeah. It's pretty amazing to see that the people we have grown up with have also grown up with our songs. And then I think all I can say is that we have been blessed, and there's nothing more. If having a song that people have listened to for the last 10 years and if they're still listening to it, I think that's just blessing. There's nothing more. You can't sit down and write a good song. You can't. It has to come from wherever it comes from. You can't just, it doesn't happen that way. If not, we would have had every single song we put out would have been a massive hit, and every single song that everyone puts out would be a massive hit. But you can't. It has to come, and you have to be alert enough to accept it. And I think we have come back into that space.
Viresh, I want to talk about that moment where I think after a very long time you started performing on a public stage. That it was a concert. I believe it was in the Museus auditorium. And
Ave Maria,
Ave Maria, correct. Ave Maria Auditorium, where you start singing and the whole crowd goes wild to an extent where they didn't even let you sing. You know, they were singing it.
Yeah.
How did you feel at that moment?
So that is probably for me up to now one of the best feelings ever. That and the thing is, it's something that you never get tired of feeling. It never gets stale. It's like every time. So before this video came out, it had happened quite a few times with that song and with a few of her songs. People sing along, and that feeling. But the first time it happened was probably one of the best musical days of my life. The first time I felt that people were singing along and the entire crowd was singing along to a song that we and I made in my bedroom at whatever time for whatever reason. Some songs were made in the washroom. I would run outside, get my phone, record the melody, and then produce it in my bedroom, and then go to the studio. All the guys would get together. That's how most of our songs were made. So each Nimantu would make the song, and so on. So the first time it happened was.
I'm sorry, but what song was made in the toilet?
Quite a few. So even the new album has about 2 songs that that the melodies came out while I was having shower.
So they say that the toilet is a place full of ideas. They used to just say it, so it's actually true.
It is true. It is true. I think it's probably because there aren't any distractions in the washroom. You do something that you're used to, washing yourself or whatever else you're doing. It's something that's a habit. You don't need to think about what you're doing. So when you're doing something that you do as a habit, your mind is free to wander, and there's no distraction. There's no phone. There's no it's not like when you're driving. There's no distraction in front of you. So you're just thinking of all sorts of things, and then you get ideas. And the first time it happened was one of the best feelings in the world, and it happened quite a few, maybe a few years before this the video that we put out came. But that the significance of that video, from the concert Ale, is that concert was purely a daddy concert. That was the first pure daddy concert that we've done, which was organized by us, in the sense which was initiated by us. And the entire it's usually a variety concert where it's us, Lahiru, Sanuka, and whoever else is there. It's a variety concert, so different people come to see different artists. So everyone was there to see us, and so that feeling was on another level. When you know that the entire audience is there for you, they're singing along to every song, and it's just, it never. The other thing is, it never gets old. It never gets old. You get used to it. Like now when I sing, I know it will probably happen, but that feeling, the goosebumps, the tingling sensation when I'm up on stage and hearing people sing, that will probably never go off. You realize every single time that happens, I just I close my eyes and I think, thank you for blessing me with this life. I am probably one of the most blessed people on the planet.
Absolutely. To be loved by so many. That's fantastic.
Viresh, yeah, sorry, go on.
No, go ahead, please.
So
go ahead.
Love and to be able to do this job, which is actually a job which I don't feel like it is a job. Because see, I have friends who studied with me at Rapid. I have friends studying with me at school. If you ask most people on Sunday night or on a weekend about their job, doing housework, masang and all of that, they're like, please don't ask me. For me, it's a completely different story. If someone asks me about work, I'll start with a smile, and I'll probably want to explain the entire thing because it's something I love. So it's very rare that people find or do things that they love as a job. For me, I think I am one of the most blessed people on the planet because I get to wake up in the morning, do what I love, and earn money and live a decent life and go to bed. What more could I ask for?
Absolutely. It's very nice to see how you look at things and how you consider yourself to be blessed. That's fantastic. Viresh, yes, I want to ask you about this. One thing you've mentioned many a times is that the daddy band is actually a band without one particular leader. Now, we always believe we are made to believe that a group must have a leader, a team must have a leader. But you've always maintained, and especially when there have been instances where you are questioned on, wasn't it what your leader who left the band, etc., etc. Yeah. So media loves to make stories and get hits and likes. That's a reality. But I was very impressed by your answer where you said, look, we don't have any one leader. We are all working together on this. But how does that dynamics actually work? I know on theory it sounds quite nice, but how is it practically happening?
Okay, so I think for there not to be a leader in any organization, all of the members have to be focused on one goal. You can't have one person half-heartedly doing what he's doing and then expect to be a part of the leadership. The thing is, when it comes to music, it's always passionate. It's something you do with a passion. So you don't really need to push anyone to work hard or push anyone and say, Masang, we need to practice. And no one is going to be like, I can't. Because practicing is fun. Going to play a gig is fun. So when it comes to music, everyone is usually on the same page. So when we started this band out, the concept was that all of us made music, played music, and did original music, stuff with it. So there was no one who did more than the other person. I mean, in certain times, certain periods, one person would probably be working more, the other person would probably be lagging a little. I mean, it's like a family.
Yeah.
You push each other along, and that dynamic is there. But all of us were of the same goal. All of us had the same vision. We all wanted to put out original music. No one wanted to do just covers and play for clubs, play at clubs, and just stay doing covers and whatnot. Tharindu, are you there?
I'm here. I'm here. Go ahead.
Okay. Your video got cut off.
It will be back. Just a small tech glitch, but it will be back.
All right. So because we started out this way, that concept has always been there. Every decision we took together. So there have been times where, let's say we're working on a song, I might think that this is the right way to do something. Let's say a bass line or guitar riff or whatever. I might explicitly feel like this is exactly how I want it, but if the other four don't agree, then I can't do anything about it. And that has worked, because sometimes we think we're right, but later on we realize that what these guys said is even more right than what I initially planned. So if it's just led by one person musically, what happens is it will eventually always go on one path. There won't be any variety. If let's say I'm the leader, I will say I want this and that, and everyone will have to listen to what I want and do exactly what I want. But because we don't have a leader, because all of us are creative leaders, all of us. When someone gives an idea, we have to listen to it and try it out and see if it works. If it doesn't work, we don't say that it can work, we try it. So this has always worked in our favor, because we have been we're known for a band that doesn't stick to one genre and one type of song, and that is, I think, that is what gives us, and if there is any. And the dynamic behind taking the band forward is that we make sure all of us are like the bond is what keeps us going. It has to be whether the band is there or not. All of us are very good friends. We will meet outside band work. We will meet to catch up for a drink, for dinner, whatever, and we will not talk music. We will just talk life. That has always been the case. So I think if all of us are focused on one goal and you're good enough friends, that is enough for there to not be a leader.
All right. I think some valid points. I really like how you have that balance between, even within the team, you have the balance between the work and the non-work. I think that's also probably a very important thing. Otherwise, when the team members begin to associate the team with always work, that can also, I believe, bring down the quality of the motivation that one would have towards the team. So fantastic on that.
Yeah, because it doesn't. The thing is, so we've got different characters. Yeah, there's one person who always wants to party. There's one person who always wants to go home. So there is always a balance. Say the guy who wants to party will always be like, after practice, Matan, shall we go out and drink, or shall we go out for dinner? One person, if he can't, he will say no. But the next day, we might say okay. The next day, we might go home. So there's always a balance. Because of the fact that there are so many characters, we have a lot of things that keep us going. There's no one person where we have to follow him, and that's the rule. and I love it. I'm not good with someone telling me this is the only way to go. I need to get my point across, and the rest of the band are also like that. So we can't really. I don't think I would work well under a leader because I can't. I like people giving ideas. I like people pushing me. But if they want me to do exactly what they want, then I will question it. That has always been my nature.
Fantastic. Viresh, let's talk about the industry. Now, we see so many new names coming up, maybe a hit or two, like a one-hit wonder, and, they're gone.
Yeah.
We haven't seen too many names in the music industry that has actually, stuck on for a while.
Yeah.
Why do you think that this is happening in Sri Lanka?
Consistency. One is because a few years ago or maybe a decade ago, financially this industry wasn't too great. So let's say someone will do this as a side project, release a song or two, put it out there. If it becomes a hit, it becomes hit, and then they go on to their own things. It falls by the wayside, and they don't really focus too much on it. It's very rare that someone sets out to be a musician. Someone sets out to say, I want to have my original music out there, and that is all I'm going to do. This is also because your parents will usually not be on board with it because they don't, from their perspective, it's fair because they don't see this as a stable industry where you get a stable income. But if
Viresh,
you are
I want to stop you there and share a little story with you and the listeners.
Yeah.
So, I tried singing in year 3, and the singing teacher in my school said, "You have a very bass voice."
Okay.
And I came back and very proudly told this to my home people. I said, "This is what my teacher said," and the reply I got was very simple. They said, "Ahagatta ඇතිනේ දැන්වත් ගිහිල්ලා වෙන මොකක් හරි කරන්න." So that's where my singing career ended over one class in year 3. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You're probably thinking, well, Tharindu, I think the teacher gave the good advice there, but never mind.
No. No, I don't see. I see. There are so many. I have had so many people telling me that I can't sing, that I can't play guitar, that I can't do this and that. After hearing me sing maybe one line or two lines, or maybe I wasn't too good back then. Maybe I'm not. I don't consider myself great or really good even now. But I know that I'm always improving. But the thing is, when you know you have something, let's say I knew I had fast legs. Like let's say when I was playing a sport, I knew I could run fast. If I knew that, I would need the people around me to support me in developing that. But it doesn't happen that way because running is probably not a very stable industry in Sri Lanka where you can earn a good living. That's what most people think. And music was like that. Sangeeta Karya, Sindhu Karya were the names given by Karya. Band Karya. We still get called Band Karya. But even cricketers back in the day.
Yeah.
Cricketers weren't taken notice of back in the day until they started making a lot of money.
Yeah.
The minute they started making a lot of money and invested on things and started driving big cars, then people started taking notice of them.
Yeah.
So it's after that parents started pushing their kids to do cricket. But
sadly, don't you think those days they earned less, but they won a lot more matches and tournaments for us?
They did. See, where I will get to that point also. There's a point I want to make with that as well, the financial side of it. See, what happens is when so getting back to what I was saying, when parents think that this is not a stable industry for them, for their kids, and obviously as parents, all they want is for them to make as much money as they can and they have a really good life and drive a good car and take care of them and all that. Of course. My parents have the same intentions. But what happens is this saying is something that has stuck with me, that I love, that I use everywhere. If you try to make an elephant climb a tree, the elephant is going to fail crazily. It will never do well. So different people have different skills. If you try to make everyone become a mathematician or an engineer or a doctor, they will come off feeling like they're stupid, which is probably the worst thing in the world. you can't make an elephant climb a tree. They're good for different things. A monkey is good for other things. I might be good at music, but I might not be good at cricket. So if someone laughs at me for not being good at cricket, that will make me feel stupid. People laugh, but but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I say at school, if I wasn't good at something, and if someone laughed at me, and if that was the benchmark of being a good person or a person with IQ, if that was the benchmark, then I would fail miserably.
Yeah.
But what happens is most people in school, you are measured by how good you are at maths. Your IQ level is measured by how good you are at maths and science. So the people who I did maths for A-levels, which I don't use much at all right now, but I did maths for A-levels.
So did I.
Um,
So did I.
yeah, I mean you are using it to a certain extent.
Well, not really. You see, um, I never did too well in A-level maths, and I still think that my class teacher was to be blamed for it because,
Yeah,
when you do A-levels, they always want you to go to the Morato University. So
yeah.
I had my class teacher who will come and, excellent maths teacher, but he will always come and throw the dust on the table and say, මහන්සි වෙලා වැඩ කරන්න එතකොට තමයි මොරටුවට යන්න පුළුවන්. Now, thing
Yeah.
is, I live in Moratua, so that never motivated me, you see. So that's the
So
problem.
I live there. So what happens is you are you if you're judged based on uh, a very a framework. If you're just based on one frame, you will come out feeling stupid. But for whatever reason, for my luck, my dad was a crazy fan of music and a crazy fan of cricket. So he had always told me my mom is a doctor, my sister is a doctor, and my brother-in-law is also a doctor. So my family background is such that we have always been told to study, and this is what it is. But for whatever luck, I was very fortunate that my dad always gave me every instrument I needed. I have had everything from drum kits to congos to saxophones to violins. I haven't played half of them, but I still had them. And my father always encouraged me to try out new things, and he would push me to play in front of other people. But he had also told me, you can do this as a hobby, but you can't do this full time as a job, which is why he sent me to Epic. And so IT
And,
was,
and for 3 years, they were trying to make us software programmers.
oh yeah, which didn't work. I mean, I like IT, I like computing, but nowhere close to as much as I love music. So that would never work for me. Even while I was doing my final project, I was like, how am I going to do this? So anyway, back to your question. Um, uh, where were we?
Yeah, we were talking about the whole thing about why musicians don't really, we have a few 1 or 2 hits and that's it. You were saying that they are not willing to put in the effort and
Because also because okay, so we have been programmed to think that this is not a place where you can make enough money. So the effort won't go in that direction as much. There are very few people who will say it's all right. I don't need to make a lot of money. I just want to do this for a living, which was me. I mean, I have always wanted to make enough money to live a comfortable life, but I knew that whatever I did, I just want to do music. I have always believed in the fact that if I'm happy, I will attract everything I want. Whether it's money or whatever it is, I will attract the life I want. If I'm happy, I can't be happy working at a software company. It's never going to happen. There are people I have friends in my batch who love software and coding and IT and all that, and they're happy. But I can't be. So unless I'm happy, I will not make the money I want. I will not have the life I want. I will not be able to help people out the way I want. So I need to be happy first. My main concern is, first of all, I need to be in a happy space, and then I can do everything I want. Bill Gates wouldn't be able to do as much charity without making the money he made. He can have the intention, but he can never make it. He can never do charity. Now he does so much charity, but it is because he made all of the money. So his foundation has to be set. So for me, I need to be happy to help people out. So the answer to your question is one, a lot of people are programmed not to put effort into their passion project, because it usually doesn't pan out to be your job. But for me, it was a different story. I did have a lot of people around me who were musicians who were doing really well, but people like gypsies, BNS were out there making good money, doing what they love. And I saw it and I was like, okay, this is possible. I should be able to live a good life, doing what I want to do. And at the end of the day, my happiness means a lot, because if I can't be happy, it's going to be miserable for everyone else around me.
Correct.
So the reason a lot of people can't sustain their career is because usually people start off by just doing something on the side and it becoming a hit, and then they just let it go because they're either doing their full-time job or whatnot. Or the flip side to this is they start off with a big hit, they get lucky with a big hit, they start earning a lot of money, and then they get complacent, which is what happens to a lot of people. If you take a band, let's say they start, when the band is starting out, this is something I firmly believe in. If you are doing something creative, you do not want to make a lot of money when you're starting out. If you do, your creativity is going to go for a 6, because I mean, if you have a good mind, if you have a strong focused mind, then it won't. But for most people, let's say they start off making money. Let's take a band example. They start playing weddings and concerts and events, and they have 1 or 2 big hits. They start earning money. Then they buy a big car. They buy their dream car. Then they buy their dream house, and then they need to make money to sustain that lifestyle. So whatever they do, they're scrambling to make money to sustain the lifestyle they started living in. The big car, the big house. I mean, these are all good things. They need to have. I mean, you can have a big car, a big house, and whatever. You can do all of that. But if it happens initially, as soon as you start your career, if that happens, you will forget to be creative and you will go after the money and that lifestyle. What I believe is that once you get a lot of your creativity out there, the money and the life and whatever will follow you. Will automatically follow you, because you are living a very happy life, doing what you love, being creative and doing the things that you want to do. The money is going to come. For us as a band, for a long time, I don't know, we've been doing this since 2014, so that's about 16 years now, 15, 16 years, 2015, 2005, what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So about 15, 16 years. And so for a long time, we were making a lot of money. I mean, we aren't earning millions now yet, but right now we make enough to live a comfortable life.
Yes.
And enough to say that this is a good industry and this is okay to sustain us. But back in the day, for a long time, we didn't make a lot of money. But because this was a passion, we wanted to go on. We kept going on. And because we didn't make a lot of money, we kept making songs. We kept making songs one after the other. And that is what sustained us. And we were lucky enough to go that way.
Viresh, is this the same reason why we don't find the caliber of Ed Sheeran's and all of that global music icons? How come now? If you take India, A.a. Rahman is a global music icon.
Yeah.
What's happening to the Sri Lankan musicians? Why are they not making it to that level?
All right. So that's a good question. There are some points that I need to cover for that. So one is that the industry here. Okay. So first of all, for someone like Ed Sheeran and A.a. Rahman to be discovered, they have to be discovered by one of those big record labels. Reason being, there needs to be a cash cow involved. There has to be money pumped into the production of their songs, the videos, their outfits, their concerts, their tours, and all of that. The distribution of their music, the songs, and all of that. So there has to be money pumped into that. The reason big companies outside of Sri Lanka won't do that yet is because there is no way to recoup that much money from the little island that is Sri Lanka, because the population is small. So whatever money you get out of putting a Sinhalese or Tamil or a song from a language that is based in Sri Lanka is going to be minuscule compared to what they will want to invest and what needs to be invested to make a big artist. So you can become. I mean, you can you can become an artist. You can train yourself and you can make that image and all of that. But there is a lot of money that is involved in building that brand. So for people like Ed Sheeran, they started off on YouTube and all of that, but then they were picked up by a recording label, which then distributed their music, got it out to radio stations on YouTube, and promoted their songs, sent them on tour, made them opening acts for big artists and all of that. That is where they got their start. So for us, there is in Sri Lanka, there is no such record label to do all those things. All we have are record labels to just do distribution and all that. So that is the primary reason. The money that can be recouped by an investment that big is not there yet. But we are slowly getting there. The minute a record company sees that this is possible, then they will start investing and pumping money into our country. But the thing is, the reason it is working in India is because the population that listens to Hindi or Tamil is huge and global. So wherever you go, there are lots of ways to make money on that. If you make a song in Sinhalese, the people who will listen to your music is going to be very small. The percentage of people is going to be very small.
Even if entire Sri Lanka listens, it will be just what, 22 million.
Yeah, it's going to be very small. And the thing is, our societies have been divided into so many different categories that some people will listen to English music, some people won't, some people just English music and Western music and all of that. And it has been divided into two. I mean, the connection has started, and people who don't necessarily listen to English music have started doing that after BNS and Bukanta and the gypsies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
and Daddy as well. There's some credit you should take there.
Hopefully. But so that is the primary reason. When it comes to talent, we can match any talent in this world globally, easily. The level of skill has improved so much because of YouTube and videos and all of that. Because of globalization, the level of talent has improved so much. We have people like Rakita from Nagro, who is endorsed by an international band called Latin Percussion by LP, which also endorses the percussionists of JLo, of Yanni, of NDK Iglesias and all of that. So these are big names, and our very own Rakita is also a part of that. So skill-wise, we are on par or even better. There's so much skill. The only problem that we don't have global artists is that we have our language is not very global yet, and none of our English songs have taken off, and also the sound factor comes into play, the audio quality, which is why I went abroad to study, and which is why I went abroad to study, and which is why we are trying to, with our music art initiative, we are trying to to teach people that this is the standard of sound there. Another reason for the sound quality not being there as much is because we don't have the equipment that is there in studios abroad, in the big studios abroad. That equipment is extremely expensive. Some of those consoles would probably cost you around 90,000 USD, and that is not a sum that we can afford right now because our industry is not that big. But eventually we are getting there. Our sound is a lot closer to the international sound than we were. But sound-wise, we are still not there. If you listen to a Sri Lankan Tamil, whatever song with an international song, you will hear a difference. And that is because right now there are people with knowledge, but we don't right now, as of now, yet we don't have the necessary hardware, but we are getting there. We have people investing on hardware, and slowly we will get there. And in about 5-10 years, I think we will definitely have a few global superstars that make it across.
Right. And hope that the Daddy band will also be one of those.
I mean, that is the ultimate goal, to be able to. So I've always had this goal. We have always had this goal of playing at Wembley Stadium. The Queen concert now everyone knows about it because of the movie.
Absolutely, yes.
But the Queen concert was something my brother and I watched when we were around about 7, 8 years old. For whatever reason, I got the concert of a VHS. Someone gave it to us, and I watched it. And I remember talking to my brother about it and saying that one day we need to be playing at Wembley Stadium. That has always stuck in my head, and I want to do it. One day I'm going to do it with my band.
What an honor it'll be for Sri Lanka when you do that.
That is the plan. That is the plan.
We'll all be rooting and cheering for that, for sure.
Yes, hopefully.
And Chika, I want to also ask about how digital technology is actually disrupting the industry. Now, for a long time, the complaint was that, oh, you know what, it's not the talented musician who makes the money, but it's the middleman, right? But now here comes digital music, here comes blockchain, here comes systems like Amadeus, which has been created by, I believe, Tharindu, Lankage, where a blockchain-based system where the musicians can directly sell the music and all that. What is your thought on that? How much of a disruption are new technologies actually having on the music industry?
I personally love it. I think that it gives the artist a lot more control of his songs, because back in the day, our methods of distribution were radio and TV. And when you go to radio and TV, you have to adhere to their rules. They have to like the song and they never get played. And they sometimes, not all media stations, some media stations tend to believe that they are ones who made the artist or band, because they played that song so many times. When in reality, they were playing songs and getting paid, and they were getting paid by advertisements because of the songs.
Yes. And to a certain extent, the artist and the band has built the channel, not the other way around.
Not the other way around, but because the artist was, because the artist was not at a level where he could demand so much, and because they were starting out, they would just have to go along with whatever the media station said. So now, because of social media and streaming platforms and software like Amadeus and all of that, it gives the artist so much more control, and there's a lot of transparency where you see, this is how many people have downloaded your songs, this is how many people have streamed your songs and listened to your songs. I'm guessing they would be accurate to a certain degree. When it comes to companies, you don't know all the time. When it comes to companies in Sri Lanka, you will never know for sure. But when it comes to reputed companies, at least to a certain degree, you can say that they are probably doing justice to the artist. And so we use YouTube and we use a software called Rebeat to distribute our songs on streaming platforms. And they give us pretty steady income monthly. And I think that has, and when you get a steady income out of songs that you made, that empowers artists to make new songs, because they know that, okay, once you get your songs out there, I will get a steady income. So I'm going to make more songs. I'm going to make more original songs, which is what needs to happen.
So when people actually, when people watch your songs on YouTube, but it has to be watched on your original channel, I believe, yes?
Yeah.
And when they do that, for every view, even if one person watches it,
no, it's not for review. It's based on advertisements. If they see an advertisement, then we get cash.
Right.
Then we get paid. It's not for it could have so many million views, but if the advertisement has only been seen 500,000 times, then they will get the money that is that is involved in that amount of advertisement.
Understood. All right. Okay, but as you said, it probably empowers the viewer, the music makers more.
Yeah, I think it's a very good thing. I think it gives people a lot of control, and I think that disruption was necessary, because then there aren't any record companies who can say I made the artist, and the record company can't say you need to do this, you need to do that, you can only do this. They don't control the artist and the band.
Okay.
The band and the artist are in control. They get to do whatever music they want. Put it out there. If people like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. It's a simple out there, but you can experiment.
Fair and square.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Chika, I want to ask you on a final note. We've been having quite an interesting chat for about almost 1 hour now, but I have two requests from you. The first is the question is the first one. I would like you to take 2 minutes and just share your thoughts on your advice to anyone who is planning to be an artist. Maybe we might have a school leaver or a student of a school who is right now watching this, or might
Yeah.
later watch it, or maybe someone who is stuck in a career, who knows he can sing very well, but he is stuck in a career going by the traditional thought and not being a
Yeah.
musician.
Yeah.
Just take 2 minutes. What is your advice to them?
Take the risk. My advice is no, because you know why people stick to their jobs thinking that there is no risk there, that they have stable income, they have a boss who gives them money, but when at the end of the day you can be laid off any minute. We saw this during the 2008 recession, and we see this now during COVID. You can be laid off any minute. You can have pay cuts, salary cuts, and also see if there are people who like to work under leadership, who want to do just what they want to do, and they are satisfied with it, which is good. If that is what their goal is, then that is completely fine, and I appreciate that. But there are people who want to do their own thing, who have a passion, who don't need to do that because they're working and they think that is stable as opposed to this. But
But
I
many of
believe
them, but many of those thoughts that their job is stable were proven wrong with COVID-19.
exactly 2008 recession and COVID-19 were the biggest blows, I think, for that concept. And I think because of that, even for me, I was like, if I mean, so many people I knew got laid off. I was in UK studying in 2008. I got laid off of my part-time job as well, and because the people, the residents there didn't have jobs, so they were obviously not going to keep students making money when the residents in. So I was like, people say this is stable, this is not stable. I believe that if you pour your heart and soul into something, and you have dedicated your time and energy and effort into that, that is definitely going to become stable if you believe in it. For me, something I believe in is attracting positive things and attracting negative things depending on what you think. I believe that everything in this world is runs on energy. If your energy is negative, you will attract, your quantum field is going to attract negative things. If your energy is positive, you are going to attract good things. For me, all throughout my life, most of most or more than what I have thought that I wanted to, what I have given energy to, has worked out more than I want, better than I wanted it to, because I have given them a lot of my energy. My band, the music I make, I give it energy. I give it energy in the sense I believe that I wholeheartedly, when I'm making a song, I wholeheartedly make it. I don't think, oh, okay, I have to go to work tomorrow, so I'm just gonna work on this on the side. No, I give it my energy. I took the risk. I took the risk because so my parents were constantly telling me, you have a degree, you have this, why aren't you doing a job? Why aren't you getting a stable income? Because initially, even after I came down from UK, I wasn't earning a lot of money. But something I did was this. I haven't spoken about this too much on live stuff. But something I did was I even though I wasn't earning a lot of money, I gave my parents more than half of what I earned. They didn't need money because both of them were working and they were comfortable. Both of them were working and they were fine. I just gave it to them just to show them that I was earning a lot of money, which I wasn't. So I gave them more than half of what I earned, and then I didn't go out too much. I didn't go party with my friends. I didn't do all of the stuff that usual kids would do because I just wanted to prove to them that I was making enough money and I was doing what I love. So that sort of made them feel like, ah, okay, he's kind of earning enough money, so that's okay. We're not going to bug him a little. But in my head, I know that I'm taking a risk. If I continue to go on like this, I won't be able to make it. But what I believed in was this is all I want to do. It has to work, right? If I believe that this is what I want to do, and if I attract it, it has to work. And I believe this wholeheartedly. And I think that for anyone who wants to do this, believe. I know that everyone talks about this. All of the people who are doing well talk about it, and everyone says believe in yourself and this and that and blah blah
But
blah.
it's true.
But it's proven. It's proven. I am a normal person who is living my life, doing what I love day in and day out. It's as
Because
simple
you
as that.
kept believing.
Exactly. Believe positively, believe that this is what you want, take the risk. If you don't, you will never, later on in life, you do not want to regret it. You do not want to go up to someone who has lived their life the way they want and say, I wanted to do this when I was small, but I never took the risk. Because I have people coming up to me and telling, after concerts, I have uncles and aunties coming up to me saying, Puta, I used to play music for this band. I was like, so why didn't you pursue it? I couldn't because, it wasn't stable. I feel for them. And I think I do not ever want to be that person. I don't want to be 50 and have thought I didn't follow my dream. So whatever it is, all I do is believe that you follow your dream, do what you feel like doing. If you are happy, you will attract what you want to attract. It's as simple as that.
Right. Viresh, I'm quite sure this is not something we planned for, but I'm getting a lot of requests through Facebook and also through WhatsApp messages asking, can Chika sing a little bit of a song for us?
Yeah, of course. All right. I will. Okay, I'm going to hold on.
So you have it ready. You have it ready.
Yeah, no, this is basically my studio setup. This is where I live most of my life. So everything is here. I have a keyboard here. I have my guitar. I believe in having everything laid out so that I can just pick it up and play. I don't want to plug things and that's just too much hassle. I might get bored of it. So everything is ready for me.
All right, excellent. So you're applying something from Mapit. You're applying something from Mapit. Workflow management.
I guess I will probably play. Yeah, exactly. I will probably play Chandran Pidu. I'm guessing because that's one song that people know a lot. Tell me if you can hear the guitar enough.
Can hear.
All right. Is the balance between the guitar and the vocals okay or?
Yeah, it's okay. Perfect.
All right. Okay, I'll sing a verse and a chorus. Yeah. Singing buwan na maputuwe magigiliye andakare obagin pele makisida iruangabanwe makisida iruangabanwe natuman adure siramuye obage sehen nadarne altelabwe kadule diye darane tagillo kediga iye ma tari sisiren nuvavu sante udavu kase Chandran Pidu Idanam Sandavala Horen Wanam Kare Mage Sihe Obenamin Vekuru De Kanula Pidu Eki Senden Obagena Asani Asam Pavane Sisila Blessing Obama Pubudu Kale. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Viresh, for joining us. And yes, when will the next big concert be? Do you have any idea? Are any dates out? Or?
Not yet, but we are getting word that we will most probably be able to start concerts by September, August, September. But since the whole driving concert is in play,
yes,
people are trying out. Yeah, people are trying out different. We have got in places to do some driving concerts. But since we don't want it to be the exact same concept, people are trying out different ways of doing this, and it's not an easy feat because you need a lot of personnel involved, health services, security services, and you need to control people because you have to maintain social distancing and all of that.
Correct.
So we are looking into that at the time for the time being, and hopefully, I am we are dying without being able to perform live. Because
Yeah,
that's
I
what
can
we
imagine.
do.
Yes.
And so hopefully very soon in the near future it will happen.
Lovely, lovely. Chika, thank you very much for joining us this evening on Good Night Colombo and sharing your thoughts on the music industry, sharing your perspective and view towards life. Everyone knows you as a musician, and we were lucky to get to hear you sing as well. But you also shared about your life and how you look at life and how you have been looking at your journey, which is very inspiring indeed. You're already getting comments on Facebook and other social media channels saying that they found it very inspiring. Thank you for taking your time, and I know I've been bothering you a lot, so thank you
No,
very
no,
much for.
I'm very sorry for not replying them on time,
No, no, no.
but
I fully
thank
understand.
you
You're
so
very
much for having.
busy.
Thank you so much for having me. And I just need to say this because usually at interviews and webinars like this, it's usually what are your future plans, and it's the same generic questions. And I kudos to you for thinking out of the box and asking questions that I wanted to talk about as well. Because I am someone who loves talking about things I believe in and I'm passionate about, and I love teaching and I love dishing out whatever I know. And thank you for making me feel like I want to talk and talk on those subjects. So kudos to you for doing a good job.
Thank you, Chika. Thank you for that, for those words of encouragement, Viresh. Thank you very much. And thank you for joining us and wish you good luck. And yes, may we be able to see more Sri Lankan music brands being global brands out there. And may the band Daddy be right on top there as well. And wish you good luck and your band as well. All the best.
Thank you
We
so
hope to
much.
see you in action soon. And to everyone who joined us this evening on Good Night Colombo, thank you for joining in. This was Chika who shared his thoughts, his journey, his way of life, and indeed he entertained us as well. And thank you for joining us and stay tuned for more exciting episodes. And we will be back next Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. with our next episode. Thank you and good night, Colombo.